What's wrong with this thing? I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is a meeting of the City of Gloucester Licensing Board. Today is Tuesday, August 8th, 2023, and the time is 6:31 p.m. This meeting is recorded by video and audio in accordance with the state open meeting law pursuant to Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022 and all recent amendments to the open meeting law. This meeting will be conducted by remote participation. Additionally, all votes taken by the Gloucester Licensing Board during this and future remote meetings will be by roll call vote. If you're calling in on a phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you're watching on a computer or a device, there's a raised hand button that you can tap or press at the bottom of the screen to request to speak. Please use either of these options during oral communications to be recognized to speak. The public may not physically attend this meeting, but every effort will be made to allow the public to view and listen to this meeting in real time and participate when necessary. These meetings are recorded, like I said, and they are posted to the City of Gloucester website, usually within 24 hours of the meeting. So we'll start with introductions. My name is Melissa Prince, member to the Licensing Board. Joining me is John.
John Lemmerin, Licensing Board member.
And we have Allison Battle, our licensing clerk. Ted Costa, member Ted Costa should be joining us soon. The first order of business is the approval of minutes. We have minutes from March 20th, 2023 and July 11th, 2023. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the minutes for March 20th, 2023 and July 11th, 2023.
Thank you, and I will second that motion. Any discussion?
No.
I reviewed both minutes. I don't see any corrections or changes to be made. Do you, John?
I do not.
Thank you. So roll call vote, Allison?
Mr. Lammerin,
Yes.
Ms. Prince,
Yes. Our next order of business is the liquor license transfer. I'm just going to hang on a second because member Ted Costa is joining us and I want him to have the benefit of hearing the full conversation. So we're just going to take a quick pause and let Mr. Costa get comfortable. Ted Costa, do you want to unmute and introduce yourself? You can hear me.
Ted Costa, member of the board.
Thank you. Ted, we are on the transfer of license. I just announced it, but I have not called it to a hearing yet. Hold on, I just want to open my drive and get the information. Drive. Almost there. Lost it. Many clicks. Okay. So this is going to be a public hearing tonight, which was posted in the newspaper on July 28, 2023. I see Meredith Fine, Attorney Meredith Fine has her hand raised, and Sam Parks. I don't know if there's anyone else, David and Anna Huddleston, if we can pull them in as participants to this meeting.
Good evening, Madam Chair.
Good evening, Attorney Fine. How are you tonight?
I'm well. How's sorry. I hope everybody on the board is well.
We are wonderful. So why don't we start with you introducing yourself, name and address for the record, and who you're representing and what we will be hearing tonight regarding a liquor license transfer. Petition of transfer of a section 12 all alcohol beverage liquor license from Gloucester Commons LLC, 1 Gloucester Commons, to Harbor 9 Golf Inc., 1 Gloucester Crossing, manager of record, David Huddleston.
Yes, good evening, and thank you, Madam Chair. I represent Harbor 9 Golf Inc. And I'm delighted to ask you to transfer this license from Sam Park to Harbor 9. And what I'd like to do is discuss what Harbor 9 is, who David Huddleston is, and what this is really an exciting business that they want to open up. So what I want to do first is orient the board to the location of this in the Gloucester Crossing. Show you the layout of the building, show you what the concept of what it's going to look like on the inside, and then say a few introductory remarks about Mr. Huddleston. And then Mr. Park, I think, wants to make a few remarks as well.
Thank you.
May I share my screen?
Absolutely.
There we go. Can you see the layout here?
Yes, but I know I can. I'm assuming everybody else can.
Okay. So
Thank
Harbor 9 is going to be a 6-bay golf simulation with a bar and serving pub food. It's going to be located. This is the traffic circle at Gloucester Crossing. Here's Home Goods. And so when you come off the traffic circle, Harbor 9 will be right in front of you. And then on the inside, it is these golf simulation bays that hold 4 people each. And then over here is a bathroom. This red triangle here at the top is where the liquor will be locked. Then here's the kitchen. Here's the bar. As you can see, it's not a huge bar. Reception area and the entryway. And then here is a patio that they're asking for 8 seats on. Again, not a big outdoor presence. So this is what the layout of the inside.
Right.
And then the concept, these are sort of conceptual drawings, these are not architectural drawings, but just to give you a feel for the style of the interior, what it's going to look like. And so the way that this will operate is the members of the public can go. It's open to the public, but there will also be memberships offered. And the main benefit of membership will be that that the morning hours are only open to members. So to make sure that they can get the golfing experience that they want. There's a monthly membership fee. The hours are going to be, the membership hours are from 8 to 11, 6 days a week. It's going to be closed on Mondays. So 6 days a week, 8 to 11 morning hours for the members, and then 12 to 9 open to the public. There will be leagues. The golfing experience will be available from beginners to experts. It'll be a great resource. As I said in the application, when it's raining, there's kind of not much to do around here. And I also think that to a certain extent, it'll be a destination for visitors. Mr. Huddleston, who is here with us, fell in love with golf when he was 8 years old. He was the captain of his high school golfing team. He just is a golf fanatic. And his business experience, he has very extensive experience in running businesses. He runs his own property management company. He works in real estate sales. So in terms of running a business, he has a great deal of experience in that. He is tip certified. I sent this tip certification to Allison today. Hiring an experienced bartender is a high priority. He has not managed a liquor license before, just being honest here. And so he very well understands the importance of having somebody on the premises who has experience doing that. So it's not a huge bar. You know, that's not the point of this experience is, you know, the bar is an accessory use, if you will. But we're really excited to make this license productive. And with that, I will ask Mr. Park if there's anything he'd like to say.
Sam Parks, if you could unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record, please.
Sam, you there?
Yeah, can you
we
hear me?
Yes.
I'm
Can
sorry,
you
I'm trying to figure out
show
how
a
to,
video?
there we
Yep,
go, I'm
there you
back.
go.
Sorry about that.
Hi, Sam Parks, how are you?
Oh, I'm very good. I'm actually glad we had this meeting today. I'm heading to Edinburgh to marry off my oldest daughter
Oh.
this coming week.
Before you start, just your name and address for the record.
Sam Park, 845 North Street, Walpole, Massachusetts, owner of Gloucester Crossing.
Thank you.
We're
Okay.
really excited to have the Huddlestons in this concept. Actually, as you know, we've been very selective on who we've been allowing to come into the center. And their concept is something that has been proving out in the retail industries as being a very attractive amenity for the center and the neighborhood. It's not a, you know, an offensive type use, and it, quite frankly, I think will bring a little bit of day and evening patronage to the center, very symbolically with the rest of what we have up there. So we're very excited. When they approached us, in fact, I will tell you, we think it's the right concept for it, that our transfer, we're actually not asking for any money for the license. We think it's that good of a use for the center that we're effectively allowing them to take our license in the spirit of keeping good uses up at the crossing. So the space itself seems really attractive. I think the outdoor amenity is going to add a lot of, I guess, experience to the whole center. So I'm very excited about it, just eager to see them get this thing going. And obviously, if they need any help on the any part of the build out, or we're there to back them up. So if that's hopefully, even if there's any need to help them with their management, licensing, and finding the right players to jump in. As you know, we own a lot of centers with lots of restaurants, and we can always bring some helpful advice if they need it. But so far, I don't think they will. I think they've been very professional in terms of devising the plan, backing it up, and they're making a sizable investment, I understand, in all of the equipment and the build out. And every turn that we've seen has seemed to be a very appropriate decision that they've made, and so we're delighted.
Thank you. Attorney Fine, anything you want to add before I open it up to questions for the board and then open up the public hearing?
The only thing that I forgot to mention was about the common vic, if you're curious about that. They applied for their building permit this week. And so they can't apply for the common victualler license until the building permit gets processed. So that's on the way. We'll be in front of you soon for that.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to open it up for questions for board members. Member Ted Costa, Member John Lammerin, do you have any questions regarding this transfer?
I do. Quick question, pub food, what's the menu gonna look like? And what hours do you plan to serve food?
Go ahead, David.
David
Hi there. Thanks for
and
having us.
Anna can introduce themselves and state their name and address for the record, please.
Yes, David Huddleston. Home address is 137 Prospect Street, Gloucester.
Anna Huddleston here, and the address at Gloucester Crossing will be 355 Gloucester Crossing Road.
Thank you.
So
Sure.
to answer, sorry, so to answer your question, we have our kitchen, and our kitchen will be able to supply air fryer food. So we plan on having things such as chicken tenders, hot dogs, fries, tater tots, coconut shrimp, that type of pub food. But in addition to that, we are actually going to be partnering up with Firing Up Pizza right across the street. So our plan is to have a QR code for each bay. So as people sign in for their tea time, they'll be able to use the QR code, and there will be a limited menu where they can order pizza, salad, wings. It won't be the entire menu, but we've already set that up with Firing Up. So if they want something outside of Harbor 9, they can have that as an option.
And what hours, David, are you going to serve food?
We'll be serving hours all times of the day. So from opening to,
Can you repeat that? Only you broke up a little.
we'll be serving food from opening till closing.
So 8 a.m.
Yes,
to 9 p.m.
yes.
And outdoor seating, I see there's an outdoor space opportunity. Do you plan to have alcohol on that outdoor space?
So what we were thinking is kind of as a house rule, if you were to order any alcoholic beverage, you would be required to order something off of the food menu.
Okay.
And
And
that,
to intend to have the alcohol out on that extended exterior patio?
Yes.
And how do you plan to, how's that going to be fenced in? How do you plan to man the folks outside?
So we're hoping that our staff, we're planning that our staff, one of the hosts will be playing the role as check-in as well as a server, while we have the bartender and myself taking care of the floor.
I think the answer is that, yes, it'll be fenced in. It has a separate entrance to the building.
Yes.
With direct access to the interior space. We're actually replacing one of the windows with a doorway. And so the space will be screened as required by the Alcohol Control Board. I mean.
So exit only off of that exterior patio?
Correct.
Events, this is a large space. Do you plan to hold any type of events at this location?
So for right now, our plan is to host tournaments probably on a quarterly basis for the public to sign up, kind of first come, first serve. That's where we are right now. I think that's the most that we would do for year one.
I'm
and
good,
there's
Madam
sort
Chair.
of a,
Thank you.
I'm just going to share, there's sort of a limited capacity to how many players can be at each station. So 4 max per station. So if we were to host a tournament, we would have all 6 stations running and maybe do a morning and an afternoon. So at any given time, a larger event would be within our capacity for the building.
Thank you. Member Tykowski, do you want to ask questions, or do you want me to go before you?
No, my questions were pretty much answered. I had the same ones as far as the outdoor portion, the food hours, and then the makeup of the space, how many stations, how many people in a station. So I think they've given me the sense of answers that I need. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have asked for one permanent seat for myself because my game really stinks these days, so I may be there quite frequently.
Madam Chair, just one more
Lifetime
question.
membership.
It looks like there's 8, you're gonna have 8 seats out there on the patio?
Yes.
Yes, our occupancy is 8 on the patio.
And then any high tops in that assembly area that you plan to have? What's going to be the total capacity that you can have in there from the building inspector?
I think it's 80.
Yeah,
The patio is more of a, if you're waiting to have your tea time start and you want to grab a beer with your friends beforehand, or you're coming off of a round and you want to still stay and hang out and enjoy the space while we have the nice weather, then that's the primary use for that outdoor area.
All set, John?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. So I'm gonna piggyback on that for capacity. So you're saying there's a total of 80 capacity inside and 8 outside? Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm not 100% sure, but I think the 80 counts the 8.
correct.
8
That
on
is
the
correct.
patio.
It counts
Yes.
the 8, okay, so 80 total.
80 total.
And when I saw your diagram, it looked like there was about 20 seats at the bar. Does that reflect what the intentions are?
Yes.
Correct.
And will there be any tables for seating and dining inside?
It's just the bar and the bays.
So wintertime comes, the patio's closed because it's too cold to be out there, except for the diehards that like to be outside, and I'd probably be one of them. And you have about 40 people come, what is the arrangements to be made to allow alcohol service and or dining for say 40 indoors while your bays are being used?
Well, I mean, if you're at the bar, you'll be able to eat food at the bar
Right,
for one.
Yeah.
But when you're in the bays, there are
Tables.
tables and
and
high,
lounge.
and a lounge section that you'll be able to.
okay, so you can drink and dine in the bays?
Correct, yes.
Okay, I didn't catch that on the diagram, so thank you for that. And you said there's 6 bays?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. And knowing the popularity of this type of restaurant / entertainment center, because I hear there's a few spread out through Massachusetts and they're highly sought after. What is your plan if you have people trying to get in and there's no space?
So, good
Knowing there's
question.
not a
So,
lot of floor space inside because they're designated to the to the bays.
so typically the way that a lot of these facilities work is you have the opportunity to book online in advance.
Okay,
So from our experience, there's, I believe, one in Middleton, there's another one in Peabody, Golf Lounge 18. So you can go on, you can check the schedule. Sometimes they're so popular that it could be a week before you're able to get a tea time. But that's kind of the nature of how it operates.
It's sort of consumers have come to understand this, that they need to call ahead, just like you would at a normal golf course to reserve a tea time. So you can call in to the shop and say, hey, Dave, is there a spot open at such and such time? And he'll be able to direct you to the next available slot for an individual or a team.
that's good to hear, because as I'm sure you know, Gloucester had problems with beach traffic and things like that. So having a reservation system works very well in the city and very welcomed, in addition to having the surprise guests. So I drove by and looked at the space last week through the windows. So Sam Parks, if you hear of anybody stuck in the building, that was me just looking in the windows to see what was going on. When is the opening date? Because to be honest, I expected to see a little more, but that doesn't mean it can't be built out quickly. So a little concerned about transferring a license that isn't built out yet. So can you tell me the plans for building out that space?
Right. So our space will start the construction process as soon as the permitting has gone through. So our architect is all set. We already submitted everything. Our GC is just waiting on the approval. He said it could happen as quick as a week. I'm sure you guys already have had experience with that, the whole process. But the plan is set. It's just a matter of how long it takes for the permit to be given to us. But our GC says that the build out will take about a month and a half. So our goal is to be open no later than mid-October.
Thank you for that. And knowing how this industry has worked, hearing that you have a GC, does that mean you have the ability to have construction workers, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, everything you need right away? Or has that been planned and ready to go? Or are those services you need to seek out still?
No, they're a whole team. They're actually the same team that built out the European wax shop right next to it, just
Okay.
sharing the wall. So it's the same company. So it actually is a very clean,
They do,
Yeah.
if I may add, they do a lot of construction for us on the interior build outs, and they are pretty quick. I
Okay,
think the wax took 8 weeks and it was a complicated build out with lots of sinks. So I think this one will go pretty quickly. I might want, I wasn't sure if I understood the question about the outdoor patio, but if I could just add, when we designed the center, we actually designed the patio for a much higher capacity than 8, so there shouldn't be a seating problem or anything out there on the patio. I believe when we permitted the original design, it had always assumed it was going to be an outdoor area. I think it had at the time up to 32 seats, but I don't recall the exact number. So I think if they're only proposing 8, that's should be ample for in terms of space, since we've designed it for considerably higher volume.
And Madam Chair, if I may also add one more thing,
yes, of course.
they've taken out a loan, a business loan that they need to start paying back.
Yep.
So they have
They're anxious.
every incentive in the world to get the thing up and running.
Yep, no, I don't disagree. And I think this is very exciting. I'm just trying to get in all the details because I know people are asking and anticipating, and I just want to make sure I have the right answers to respond.
Understood.
So, mentioning the patio, to be honest with you, coming from me, I'm somebody that would want to see more than 8 seats out there, right? I love the whole idea of outdoor dining. I think Gloucester Crossing is a great place to have outdoor dining because it's a safe space up there. You know, it's big, you know, a lot of people are around. I think that would be more attractive for a business. So to be honest with you, I'm hoping that you can get to more than 8 outside. But my question to you is, will you be presenting and advertising in a way that someone like me that goes up to go to Marshall's or Home Goods, if I see that outdoor patio, I can come over and grab a bite to eat and a drink as opposed to just playing golf. So are you going to be strictly, what's the word, not advertising, but focusing on the golf part of it? Or is it going to be also welcoming to the public as a whole, knowing that your license is not going to be available to the public and members only from 8 to 11 a.m. every day?
I can jump in on that.
Sure.
Yeah, and I'm somewhat new to the golf game. So, you know, we really want this place to be accessible to all, whether
That's
you
good.
are a golfer or you're not, and you're interested, or you just want to come and have a bite to eat or a drink and maybe watch others play against the screens. So we certainly want it to be inviting for all. And the patio, I think, is a huge win for us. You know, we were chatting with Sam about the available space, and the patio did come up as an opportunity. We thought this is fantastic. So absolutely right there with you, and think that even the placement next to Home Goods, in relation to where we are with our golf, you know, a lot of couples may find themselves splitting up in the center and then meeting back at Harbor 9 for a drink. So we think it'll be a great spot for all, and that's how we will advertise it.
Thank you. And the ABCC, the Alcohol Board, has patio guidelines, which I'm sure Sam Parks is very familiar with, and Attorney Fine as well. So will this patio be covered, like to weather for like rainy days or inclement weather, or is it just going to be an open patio? Or you don't know yet, and that's okay too.
As of right now, we have it planned as an open space. We're thinking we may have, you know, some outdoor seating with gas fire pits and things like that to make it
Okay.
enjoyable in the evening. So open space is sort of the idea right now.
Yes. So to winterize it, it's basically just taking the furniture off the patio.
Okay. And doing like they do at the Beauport Hotel, just having a couple tables out with fire pits and maybe some blankets and encouraging
Correct.
outdoor. Okay, that's inviting. So back to the kitchen menu, I'm hearing air fryer food. Does that mean no grill, no hamburgers, just strictly air fry and
Yeah, for
ordering
for now.
Okay,
Yeah, for now. I mean, and you'd be surprised. We've done so much research on air fryer food, and
mhm,
we've been testing it. I'm somewhat of a good cook. I cook every single night, and I've surprised myself how good food comes out using an air fryer. There's a lot of pre-made stuff you can get wholesale that's really great. You really can't tell the difference.
okay.
So we feel really confident with the options we'll be able to provide.
We will also have a convection oven. So we do par baked foods that we can heat up quickly for customers as well.
Yeah. And alcohol, you plan to have a full stocked bar? Or is it gonna be limited because of space? I don't know how much space is dedicated for the bar. How many feet was that? 20 feet seems to be a pretty good sized bar, but what does the bar look like behind it? Is it a wall with where you'll set up your alcohol, or is it windows where alcohol will be from like underneath the cabinet or something underneath the bar? Like, what is the intention with the view of alcohol in the bar?
It's a combination of both. So if you look, if you refer back to the model board that Meredith showed you with the design, we will have floating shelves
Okay.
with our top shelf bottles of liquor, and we will have multiple refrigerators where we will be pulling for beer and for wine as well. If you want to comment on that.
So it's
Exactly.
this,
So there are no. Mhm.
sorry, I was just seeing a picture. Can you scroll down below a little bit more? So this picture here in the top right, is that the back of the bar? That looks like a,
That's behind the bar. So
so there's
That's
no
what
window,
the-
it's just shelving?
yes,
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
And then
Okay.
the bar is 339 square feet.
oh yeah, okay,
And so it's not tiny.
okay, good. And restrooms?
you want
Where
to
is-
scroll up, Meredith? Yep. So we have two restrooms side by side.
Oh,
So
sorry.
there, if you want to go back down,
Here's
yeah, there's
one.
two.
Here's one,
Okay,
and then here's two. And then I
And-
wanted to show you how the patio works. So
okay,
this will be where the fencing is, and then you can only get into it from the inside like that.
right. So no exits from the outside?
Exactly.
Correct.
Good, that's very helpful. And the 2 bathrooms planned, that meets the capacity requirements of 80 people?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Thanks. I'm almost done, sorry, I like to ask a
No.
lot of questions. So you're saying mid-October approximately for your intended opening, open from 8 to 10 or 8 to 9? Thought I wrote down 9.
9.
So 8 to 9, so you're not open later than 9 on the weekends?
Right. We're sticking basically to what we've seen for local restaurants. That's kind of like the time frame, just kind of following suit, if you will.
Funny, because I was having a conversation with someone today and they were talking about how Gloucester shuts down at 9 o'clock now and there's nowhere to go. All the restaurants
Yeah,
have
we were talking
suddenly
about it
stopped
too.
serving after 9, so feel free to stay open till 10.
I was going to just suggest, and it's not, it's really up to the Huddlestons, but I would think you'd want longer hours as a up to, and then as well up to a seating capacity that might be as high as maybe 24 or, whatever, just because I have a feeling on a good day, you're going to want to have that additional capacity, to have people out there.
Right.
But with
Agreed.
umbrellas or benches, but I don't know what the actual number is, but I don't know if it gets locked in at 8 under the liquor license. But that would be, I would think you'd want to have a little flexibility there just from past experiencing how successful establishments draw good crowds.
So I think the way, and I'm speaking on behalf of John and Ted, and I could be wrong, so please chime in. I mean, we don't necessarily set the capacity, the fire department does. And we encourage licenses to be used to their capacity as long as the space is safe and falls under the regulations of the board and the city of Gloucester and everyone that puts regulations in on the space. So I wouldn't say that you'd be locked into saying you have 8 if your capacity is 20. You know, I would hope that that space is used to its capacity, but I know from my perspective, I like to see it max. you know, and make
Yeah.
the most access to the public. It's like I said, especially where you're not open to the public earlier in the day. But you'll be open and could be open till maybe a little bit later at night, depending on the desire of the public to come in and play golf, right?
Absolutely. We're taking more of a conservative approach at first, but we are, by all means, if the demand is there, we want to serve it.
Right. And I'm gonna assume you haven't gotten any insurance yet for liquor liability or anything like that because the space isn't built out yet. But that will be a requirement before you get your license. And meeting the patio capacity. And so employees, how many outside employees, you plan on having outside employees, correct?
Yes.
So you'll have
You
to,
want to touch on?
oh, go ahead. How many employees do you intend to hire? Besides the bartender?
So we're looking to have about 3 additional employees, plus David,
So four staff and then
2 bartenders.
at least 2 bartenders to start.
So,
Okay,
so 6.
yep,
Yes.
6. So you'll have to meet the requirements for workers' compensation, fill out the required form before opening as well and submitting a copy to the board. So getting to the manager of the license, I'm happy to hear that you're tip certified. You're well on your way to learning. Will you be doing any serve safe or restaurant certifications along with the tip certification?
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Yes.
And who will be there to receive alcohol deliveries
I will
during the
be.
day? You'll be there?
I will be. I'm basically going to be living there.
Are you sure she's okay with that?
Yeah,
Okay, and so I'm trying to get into you specifically now as a manager and just question. I know you don't have experience and that's okay. We've approved managers before that don't, as long as they're willing and on their way to learning that. So have you ever worked in any type of restaurant atmosphere?
Oh, yes.
You
So
have. Can you tell me
yeah,
where?
so all through school. So I actually I started working in the food industry. So first job was at a gourmet high-end restaurant in my small town of Salisbury, Maryland. Started out as a dishwasher, worked my way up to being a busboy. The next summer I worked at Olive Garden. Same thing, dishwasher, busboy, and then to actual server. I've never been a bartender before, but I've gone from dishwasher to host, busboy, and server. So I'm very familiar with the industry, but I have no experience with bartending.
That's okay. Servers sometimes act as bartenders without realizing they're being a bartender. Okay. And tell me about this membership program. How do you plan to run that?
So part of it is going to be trial and error. But for the hours of 8 and 11, we're hoping to be able to provide an hour's worth of play per member. We're going to have to play around with groupings, but it'd be similar in terms of going online and trying to find a slot available for that day or, for that week, depending on, the demand for members. But again, it's going to have to be trial by error, just based on demand.
And you're charging a membership fee?
Correct.
And does that include anything, the fee besides just access?
What did we have for that? It was,
yes, so it'll include at least one round of golf free.
oh, that's right.
Per month.
Yeah.
And additional perks that we'll come up with throughout the month to bring members in, give them exclusive access to the bays. If we have excessive amounts of demand, members would be able to schedule things, within a few days versus maybe somebody who's not a member, you would be looking, a week to 2 weeks out. So we're trying to look at different opportunities for members with that membership fee, not an excessive fee amount.
But not free drinks. And
No.
No, not free drinks.
Right, that was my next question. Any perks that involve alcohol?
no.
No.
None. Okay, thank you for answering those questions. It was very helpful. Get a good understanding of what's going on there. John or Member Ted, any questions before I open the public hearing?
Madam Chair, I just one subtle correction. The
Yep.
building inspector would be the one, not the fire department, that would set the occupancy numbers to the question that Mr. Park brought up. And I think Mr. Park has a valid point that I hope his new tenants and Meredith's applicant or clients are considering if they're looking at what it might take to play a round of golf from a person that spends most of his time in the woods on a golf course. I think that your liquor license allows you to stay open a little bit longer than 9, so you may want to consider not boxing yourself in. I think Mr. Park's idea of a not to exceed time might better suit you at this point, but just a consideration that you may want to think about before we pass a final vote for a license.
I mean, I think 10 o'clock, I think 10, do you guys feel comfortable with saying 10 o'clock?
We do. It's just, I think we're trying to fit in, if you will. We don't want to be too outside the box, in comparison to, what every other restaurant's doing. We don't want to step on anyone's toes kind of thing. We're just going with what we've seen tendencies, if you will. Did you want to add to that?
Exactly. We know that it's Gloucester is, I think, growing and expanding and being a destination and a tourist opportunity. So, we don't want to be noisy tenants and be, have folks out late, but we also want to serve folks that.
I think it's okay for us to ask for 10 o'clock and then you don't have to go till 10. But if you want the option of doing it, then you have the option of doing it.
So let me say this, in Gloucester, you can operate your license from 8 a.m. until 12:30 a.m. Those are the operating hours between the bylaws and Mass General laws. You do not have neighbors up there. You have the benefit of not getting anyone upset if there's noise, right? If there's any place in Gloucester that you could make noise, it's up at Gloucester Crossing, right?
Good point.
And like I said before, I encourage restaurants to stay open. I'm sorry that restaurants close at 12 o'clock, but there is a life out there after 9 o'clock at night. And I'm thinking the Lobster in Gloucester is going to learn that, because while the other restaurants are closed, they're still serving food over there, right? So Gloucester has been accustomed pre-COVID that you do stay out, especially in summer nights. So by
I'm
all
sure
means, I
Anna-
hope you're not getting any message from me to close, because I'm the first one to say, put 12:30 on your license. And like Attorney Fine said, if you want to close at 10, you close at 10, but you want that flexibility. And you might see people are coming back out of their houses and coming out. And what better thing to do and funner thing to do? Let's go play a round of golf at 9:30 on a Friday or Saturday night, right? And you're there to provide that entertainment, because this is a form of entertainment. And I'm sure it's going to be a highly desired form of entertainment.
And don't forget the the Bloody Marys on brunch time on Sunday.
Exactly. Yep. That
Yes.
was one of my questions too. Are you going to have entertainment?
And just having had a few of these in some of our establishments, I will tell you, they usually try to max out the
Mhm.
hour, as long as they're not obligated to stay open that time. Because you will find people want to play early. They'll probably want to do a weekend brunch. And there really is no neighbors that have expressed any concern about the noise or anything in that area, because it's an enclosed center. So I don't mean to take your husband away from you, Anna, for every hour of the day, but it would probably behoove you to take the board's advice and show as many hours on the license as possible.
Yeah.
And just keep them updated.
Totally agree.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Kings or Cape Ann Lanes, right, they're open, past that. So I happen to agree with Madam Chair and everyone else. At least put it on the
Yes, we
license. You don't have
Yeah.
to keep it open.
Right.
And that could change in the winter time when,
Right.
people can't go out, they want to go out.
Alcohol licenses are sought after in the city. Trust me, I get phone calls at least once or twice a week wondering if there's any available, and like I said, before COVID, people did go out, and this is a reason to get back out. And I just hope that the world gets back to what we used to be. I can't help but wonder if a lot of places close at 9 because there's not a lot of serving staff available, and their staff that is available is exhausted because they're working a lot of shifts. So I personally think that that's why some of the restaurants aren't operating as long as they were pre-COVID because there's just not enough staff there to keep it going. But if you have that opportunity and you are ambitious and want to grow a restaurant, this is the perfect place, great entertainment to take that chance and see what happens. And like I said, we'd like to see our licenses used to the best of their capacity. So
No,
just food for
no.
thought.
Now that
Yes.
you know, now that you know there's a metric of restaurants that close at 9, you could start a 9 o'clock league with restaurant employees and
Great
There you
idea.
go.
Very true.
Definitely. We agree. If there's opportunity to max out the hours, with flexibility to close, if need be earlier than that, I think that sounds wonderful.
And I'm not trying to overwhelm you right now. I can't imagine everything that's going through your mind and what you have to do, but I just don't want you to get locked into anything because we do put your hours of operation on your license. And then we have the expectation that that license is going to be used. So I don't want to have to call in later down the road and say, are you using this license to the best of its capacity, right? So, but that's a discussion for another time. I don't, like I said, don't want to overwhelm you. So I just
Madam
want to
Chair,
go ahead.
on Sundays, it's 10 a.m., correct?
10 a.m. for service of alcohol on Sunday, yes, to start. So I just want to draw your attention to, I'm looking at the liquor license purchase agreement. And I just want to hear, probably from Attorney Meredith Fine, your interpretation of the miscellaneous article on 6.1.
Bear with me 1 second.
It's on page 4 of 7. Which talks about the obligation of the transfer back.
Yeah, I've got it.
So I'm curious, what is your, I don't like to bring dark clouds or anything, but I always have to foresee what could go wrong, right? Knowing
Yeah.
that hopefully nothing is going to go wrong.
Could I just inject here, because that was more of a clause that we insisted on primarily
Yep.
because we were giving the license for $1 or nominal charge, that if they
Right.
decide to close shop, we'd like to take it back and either run it or reopen another establishment with ample time to do that. So that's really, that wasn't so much their request, it was our request to control that, make sure that we keep a license at the crossing.
Yep, no, I completely understand that, but I just want to throw this scenario out there, hoping it never happens, but I'm just curious to what the interpretation would be. So looking at the language of this contract, if something should go wrong, right, when we know nothing's going to go wrong, we don't want anything to go wrong. But if something should go wrong and the license goes unused for a period of months, for whatever reason, not because of a natural disaster, not because of anything other than it just stopped being used. And knowing the licensing board has the authority to hold the licensee accountable to the use of their license, what would be the behavior of both parties here if that were to happen and the licensing board needed to bring the parties in for a discussion of non-use of license?
Well,
Because I see that it reverts back to Sam Parks, which I completely understand why and what your intentions are and support that. But I just want to make sure that we're clear that the licensing board does have some authority and we need to work together on this. And so I just want to have this conversation
I
now
see
while
what
we
you're
can.
I see what you're saying. That only the licensing board can approve a transfer.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
So I understand why this language is here, and I completely agree with keeping a license up at Gloucester Crossing. I've been waiting for this moment since I got on this board, right? Bill Parks knows that since the day I got on the board, he was at my first meeting, and support that. But I just want to make sure that there's an understanding that the licensing board has a say in that as well. And just want to make sure that we all acknowledge that before we transfer. That's all.
Yeah, no, I completely get your point.
I have always considered the licensing board has all the authority. So as you know, for us, we've given them back licenses because we've been hit by
I know. Yeah.
Goldman Sachs, by the downturn in 2009 and what have you. So really, you have our word at least that, if there's an issue with the license, you'll be the first one we talk to before.
Okay.
Well, but the way that I read, to answer your question, the way that I read this is that because no license can be transferred without the cities without the board's approval. I sort of read that into the buyer's obligation to transfer it back. So in
Right,
other words, the buyer would have to come to the licensing, go through the process of transferring.
what
it.
you're doing now.
They don't have the unilateral, I understand what you're saying. The buyer, the Huddlestons, don't have the unilateral authority to just give it back. But that they have to do whatever it takes to get the license back to Mr. Park.
Right. And this language prevents them from transferring it to someone else,
Right,
right? Prevents them from pledging, right? So.
right,
that's a-
because they're getting
Yep.
a dollar.
Right. So I just want to make sure that if there's ever a chance, we have those conversations that we're all pretty much on the same page now with that understanding.
Well, they
Yes.
can't transfer it without the board's approval. So it's not possible to do. So I think you can read that into that.
And I bring this up, and this is why, I mean, there was another establishment in Gloucester, and they had a contract similar to this, and it said that once the restaurant was ceased business, that the license automatically transferred back to the building owner. And that was in place before these board members were here, and I happened to be talking to the director at the ABCC, and he brought it up because someone brought it to his attention that was trying to get the license and said that it was illegal to do that. So just want to make sure that there's an understanding here that it doesn't automatically happen. The licensing board has authority. I know what your intentions are. I know the intention is to keep the license up there. I just want to make sure that while the parties are here and we're talking about this transfer, that we understand that this is the contractual agreement, but that the licensing board will have to vote on this as well.
Well, would it hold things up? I don't want to hold up this license, but maybe we can, Mr. Park and I, or Mr. Park's attorney and I can revisit that particular paragraph.
I'm very happy, Melissa, to just say it's subject to approvals by the board, and add that in, amend that. It's always our intention to come back before you.
Right.
Regardless of any change. So if there's some language that we can add in there to give you the comfort that it's not a matter that we get to go in and take it over, that's fine without your approval. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, and as you know, Sam, this is the first step of two. The license, the ABCC is going to review this as well. So my guess is they're going to be asking a similar question. So you'll be prepared to answer that, right? Because
Right.
they're gonna read this agreement as well and maybe have
Well,
the same concern.
So I guess what I'm saying is we can submit a revised
Okay,
copy for the clerk to send down to the state, to Boston.
okay. I think that would be helpful for you in that second step process, right? Just to
Yeah.
avoid any holdup of the license. It usually takes at least 30 days to transfer. If they're talking October, we don't want to hold that up while the weather's still nice. Okay, I do not have any more questions, so I don't know if anyone's here for the public hearing, but what I'm going to do is call the public hearing to order. So if there is anyone in the public, and we have 6 attendees right now, that would like to speak in favor or in opposition to this liquor license transfer, please raise your hand or press *9 to speak and address the board. I don't see anyone yet, but I'm just going to wait a few more minutes before I close the hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak to this transfer? No one has raised their hand, so I am going to close the public hearing that was advertised on July 28, 2023 in the Gloucester Times. Okay. Is there any questions? Member Limerand and Coster, any more questions to this?
No, ma'am.
I'm not sure.
Okay, so we should entertain a motion and mention the subject to meeting the requirements of the building inspector, the workers' compensation regulations, the patio regulations, and any language change to the liquor license purchase agreement. If I remember correctly.
It's a lot. I'm going to miss
All
something.
right,
I motion to approve.
And the
a petition-
hours.
and the
Yes.
hours, yeah.
The hours.
I motion to approve the transfer of a section 12 all alcohol beverage liquor license from Gloucester Commons LLC, 1 Gloucester Commons, to Harbor 9 Golf Inc. at 1 Gloucester Crossing Road. Manager on record, David Huddleston, on the conditions of providing a liquor liability insurance, worker compensation insurance, approval from the building inspector, a patio inspection is done, and the language changed to the liquor license contract. The hours are Monday or Tuesday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 12:30 a.m.
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. And just for the Huddlestons to know, you're on Sunday, if you plan to open at 8 a.m., that's okay, but you just can't serve alcohol until 10 a.m. We're not preventing you from opening, just preventing the service of alcohol according to the general laws.
Understood.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Allison, can you do a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Lammery,
Yes.
Ms. Prince,
Yes.
Mr. Costa,
Yes.
I just want to recognize Attorney Michelle Harrison has also been on the line. I always welcome any feedback she has, but she didn't raise her hand, but just wanted to say hello and know that she supports Sam Parks and his endeavors, and this is a really good one. So I'm happy to see this transfer tonight.
We'll be drinking a bottle of wine shortly. Celebrating.
Very good. This has been a long time coming, Mr. Parks,
Yes, it has.
but a good decision. See, we held out and a good decision.
We got the right players.
Yep, absolutely. So best of luck. The licensing board here is if you have any questions along the way. Hope to see you open in October. And look forward to all the anticipation of the city waiting for this to open, because I know there's been some talk already.
Thank you.
It's not a secret anymore.
Thank you, and thank you for this. This discussion's been really productive and helpful. So
It
thank
has. I think it's good. I think the public's pretty informed, and if they're not, they can watch Zoom tomorrow and hear what's coming.
you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Next order of business is extension of premise. Fred Shrigley of Railroad Ave Associates, DBA The Rum Line, is requesting to extend his premise, a temporary extension, into his side parking lot for 1 day on September 23rd, 2023, from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. for a customer's private event. So I see Fred Shrigley is here in the attendees, and is there anyone else that would like to present for this application request for Fred Shrigley? Please raise your hand or press star 9. Fred Shrigley, can you unmute and put your video on and state your name and address for the record?
Okay, video.
Down
Not
in the
sure
corner?
how I do that.
Is there a video button down in the left-hand corner?
Hold on.
It might say stop video
Uh,
or start video.
Start video, there you go.
There you go. There we go. Hello, Mr.
Hello.
Shrigley.
Good evening, Madam Chairman. You, as usual, were incredible in that whole license transfer.
Oh, lots of experience. The years of building up.
I
Can you
don't want-
state your name and address for the record?
It's Wilfred Shrigley, 20 Centennial Avenue, Gloucester, Massachusetts.
Thank you and welcome. Are you outdoors in that area right now? It
I
looks like-
am.
Okay, so we're gonna get a
Because
real video,
inside-
live video. Visual,
Inside would be,
crazy.
it's very busy. No,
Yes.
everybody's having a good time. It's bluegrass night
Oh,
and the crowd's filling in and yeah.
okay. Remember the days when we were worried about that? And here we are, 2 years later.
I was closed for 15 months.
I know, that was
Man.
awful.
And then the regulations were like, put plastic up everywhere. There's no way I could possibly, do that. So we hung out. Luckily, I've been here 45 years and I could do that.
Absolutely.
Some of the younger places, I feel sorry for them.
Okay, so we're having a wedding.
We are two of my best friends. I won't mention their names, but everybody knows them pretty much. And the downstairs is going to be closed. We're going to have signs saying private party invitation only. I will be monitoring that. There's only going to be two ways into the parking lot. The parking lot will be walled off. Somebody will be there at the gate, and then somebody inside to make sure that we keep the capacity around 150 guests. So we got the tent permit. Thanks to Allison helping me. And so we're excited to have this event. The tent is going to be up for 3 days, but we're only going to be extending the premises on that Saturday, the 23rd, from 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock. There'll be no live music outside. There will be music inside. As usual, I'll obey all the laws. We have 4 bathrooms, 2 downstairs and 2 upstairs. So I think I've got most of my bases covered.
And this is something you've done before during COVID. This isn't the first time you're using this space, right?
I used the space during COVID
Mhm.
as outside the box cafe.
Yep.
And there was a loophole because it's a separate deed that I could do that and treat it as my own special place.
Right.
And so I took advantage of that loophole. We had a lot of fun. I'm glad Gloucester let me do that.
So you're gonna have a tent for 3 days. If this is the wedding that I think it is, or you might need to be outside for 3 days. With 150 people coming.
If you want to extend it for 3 days, I mean,
I'm just kidding. I just know there's probably gonna be a lot of happiness there.
no, it's going to be, 5 hours and a lot of, positive happiness, like you said.
Absolutely. Okay, so John Lamorin or Ted Costa, any questions for Mr. Shrigley about temporarily extending his premise, similar to what we did at the golf course, Bass Box Golf Course last summer? We did a temporary extension there to allow for an event. This is falls along those regulations.
No questions from me, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
I think the only one I have, Madam Chair, is, underage. Are there going to be children at that event, or is it all going to be 21 and older?
Oh, it's a wedding. So
Right.
there will be grandchildren and stuff like that, but there'll be parents here and bartenders. I mean, my bartenders are the most experienced in Gloucester. Anybody who comes in here, they know that. So you don't have anything worried about underage people being served.
Right, and you serve lunch and dinner to patrons with children as well in there, so it
Absolutely.
won't be the first time that there's kids there.
Right.
But of course, we're just curious to make sure that there's plenty of eyes to make sure everyone's behaving, that's all.
I don't blame you.
We have to do that with you, right, Fred? It's fun,
Oh, we go way back, Melissa.
fun at the rum
And
line. We
Teddy,
like it.
hi, Teddy.
So any further questions? So my only question, Fred, is can you just confirm at some point, and maybe you know now, maybe you don't, that you have liquor liability insurance coverage for outside in that area? Just to have that insurance, just to make sure that that is there.
It covers
You
everything.
complete your property,
that
your
I
whole
own.
property?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, just want to make sure. So with the insurance, you're gonna have staff outside to make sure no one can walk off with drinks. That place has been gated up before when you were outdoors with COVID, and you served successfully out there without any incidents and any complaints from the neighbors.
It was BYOB.
Okay, We can't do that anymore, but that's
I
okay.
know that, I know that.
But what I'm saying is there was alcohol outside in that area, and we did not get any complaints from any neighbors or anything like that, so that was the point that I was trying to get to. And it's from 1 to 6 p.m. So I don't have any other questions. Is there a motion to come before the board?
I motion to approve extension of premise for Fred Trigley of Railroad Ave Associates doing business as a run line to extend his premise into the side parking lot for 1 day on 9/23/23 for the hours of 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. For customers' private event.
Subject to passing all required inspections.
Yes.
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Roll call vote, please.
Madam Chair, you said subject to passing all what?
The required inspections.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
for the outdoor part, you know, I know he got, he does have a sign off from the building inspector, Board of Health, just in case anything changes between now and then. And it's a matter that doesn't involve the alcohol license, that he meets all the
I just
requirements.
didn't hear you.
That's okay.
So, Mr. Lamoureux,
Yes.
Ms. Prince,
Yes,
Mr. Costa.
Yes.
thank you, Fred Trigley. I am very happy this event is happening.
Oh, so am I. Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Have a nice week.
You too, bye-bye. Okay, we have 2 matters left on the agenda, which are special 1-day liquor licenses. The first one is petition of Isabel Pett requesting to serve wine and malt beverages during a wedding welcome party at Maritime Gloucester 23 Harbor Loop on August 18th from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And Isabel Pett, if you can unmute, and there's your video, thank you, and state your name and address for the record.
Isabel Pett, 42 Fort Square, Gloucester, Mass.
Thank you. Is this the first time you've come before us? You look familiar.
Surprisingly, yes, but I am everywhere these days. I am the events director for the 400th as one
Oh,
of
that's where I've
many
seen you.
other
Okay,
involvements with the city. Yeah.
got it. Hold on, I'm just pulling up your petition. Okay, so tell us what's going on down at Maritime Gloucester.
Yep. So this, to be clear, is not under my 400th hat. It's under my private events hat.
Yep.
It's a welcome party for a wedding, 130 people, 6 to 9:30. We have the venue until 10:30, so bar will be shut off at 9:30 to ensure that we have an hour to wrap up. I have 2 tip certified bartenders and then my tip certification as the event manager. I have managed restaurants and held restaurant liquor licenses in my name. I have worked in the events industry as a bartender since I was 18. I am now 32, so whatever that math is. I think that's it. We have permission from Maritime Gloucester. I'm getting it delivered from Gorton's, although I have not placed the order because I was waiting for this to go through. My only question for you, it's been years since I've pulled a 1-day permit with the city of Gloucester.
Yep.
I was unclear as to whether I could have hard liquor. In the past, I remember being able to serve hard liquor under a 1-day license, and now I can't figure that out.
No, you cannot.
Just wine and malt.
Yeah, only nonprofits can do full alcohol.
Okay.
And Gordon Wine, they are on the list of distributors. It just doesn't sound familiar to me.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And they'll deliver and pick up the next day.
And where will
And-
you be keeping the, sorry, I'm jumping right into questions.
No, it's
Where
good.
will-
It'll
where will
be
you
locked
Okay.
away in Maritime Gloucester. There's a room in there that they use for that purpose. It was on a map that I submit with my application, which I can pull up if we need me to.
I'm just looking at it now. And you're gonna have cash register receipts to show us, you're required to turn in your receipts once the
Sure.
event is over to Allison, and we track that.
And to be clear, no sales. This is open bar.
So we're
obviously.
not gonna say open bar, we're saying the party is buying the wine for its,
Guests
the-
only.
the
invitation.
party, the wedding party is paying for the drinks. It's not
Yeah.
free drinks, open bar. It's just that we're not charging the public, but the
Right.
alcohol is being paid for by the wedding party, welcome party.
Correct.
And it's invitation only, so it's not open to the public, which does
Correct.
make a difference in this situation. Because it's limited where guests only, so that's helpful to the application. I see you have your liquor license. And I'm gonna stop asking questions because John and Ted may have questions. So
130 people, do you intend to have police detail at the top of that? I know it's a public way.
No police detail. The Maritime Gloucester didn't seem concerned. I know they host events there all the time. I mean, I will be there and I am actually also a guest of the wedding, so I know everybody who's going. So we'll be able to tell who's not supposed to be there. And there's no teens or kids that are coming also. I mean, we'll check IDs if we need to, but
any further questions?
No, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, the, when Izzy spoke of the time, she mentioned 9:30 as the ending time and the agenda says 8:30. Is there a correction that we need to make? Is it 9:30 or 8:30?
She is claiming, she's asking for 9:30, that the bar is gonna stop serving at 9:30 and the function was going until 10:30, if I heard correctly.
that is correct.
My question that I ask every one who applies for a license down here, what staff and what eyes will you have to make sure that no one leaves Gloucester Maritime and walks off the premises with a drink if you're
Yeah.
not having a police detail?
I have one extra staff person who is just going to be a floater and can serve that purpose, and myself.
And who's gonna be checking IDs for the drinks? Is it gonna be the bartenders themselves or is it?
The tip certified bartenders will be checking. Yeah,
And you said there's gonna be 3 of you serving 130 people?
Yep.
Okay. So 3 of you behind the bar?
2 behind the bar and then I'll hop back if I need to.
Okay,
For beer and wine, it's just cracking a can, so we should
Right.
be,
you should be okay. Usually we do require a police detail if it's gonna be a long event, but this sounds like a shorter event, but I'm just gonna ask that you contact the local police department and let them know that the event's happening.
I can
So that they
email,
know, so they know what's going on.
is Deputy Fitzgerald okay?
Yes, absolutely. Are there any other questions by the board on this application?
Nope.
Nope.
Just look
I
at it.
motion to approve a special 1-day liquor license to Isabel Pet to serve wine and malt beverages during a wedding welcome party at Maritime Gloucester at 32 Harbor Loop on August 18th from the hours of 6:30 to 9:30 PM.
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call vote, Allison?
Mr. Lammer,
Yes.
Ms. Prince,
Yes.
Mr. Costa.
Yes.
Isabel, any questions for us while you're here?
I'm good.
Good. Hope you have a very successful event.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Have fun.
Next order of business is petition of Cheryl Mazza requesting to serve wine and malt beverages during an annual music festival and fundraiser event at 8 Vulcan Street on September 23rd, 2023 from 11 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Cheryl Mazza, can you please unmute and show your video and state your name and address for the record?
Oh, there I am.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for honoring our application. I'm Cheryl Mazur. I'm president of the Lanesville Community Center. My home address is 1202 Washington Street in Gloucester, and the address of the community center is 8 Vulcan Street in Gloucester.
Thank you. And you've been coming before us for how many years for this request?
Well, I've been president for 4, and then we had COVID. So
Yeah.
I think it's been 3. But
Yes.
it's our annual music festival, loved by the community, loved by, I think, all of Gloucester, Rockport, probably all of Cape Ann. And right after COVID, we opened up the first festival after COVID. I think there were about 400 people that came through. Not all at the same time, but it was one of these grand events.
That it is. I've heard lots of good things about it. So your application was very thorough. You submitted a ton of information, which we appreciate.
Great.
So I'm gonna ask Member John Lamoran or Ted Costa if they have any questions for you.
No,
I do-
same event as usual, so I think I'm good.
Same event as usual. And we
Ted
have an ex-
Costa, any questions?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So I'm gonna assume this is gonna be set up the same way with the same barriers
Exactly,
that you've done in the past. The picture actually looks like the same exact one we saw last year.
exactly.
And there was been no complaints, no problems, well
No.
attended.
Well attended. We have a wonderful bartender. She's licensed, tip certified. She's been doing it for years with us, and it's,
Is there just one person serving alcohol?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Unless she brings a helper. I don't believe she needs to.
Okay. This is during the day, correct? Yeah,
Right.
11 to 6,
Right.
okay. All right, I don't have any questions based on past experience. So is there a motion to approve?
I motion to approve a special one-day license to Cheryl Mazer for wine and malt beverage during their annual music festival and fundraiser event at 8 Holcomb Street on 9/23/23 from the hours of 11 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. So
Wonderful.
moved.
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Did you say 6:30?
It says 11 a.m. to 6:30 p.m.
Perfect. Okay. Mr. Lammery,
Yes.
Ms. Prince,
Yes.
Mr. Costa.
Yes.
So that license will be issued. I'm just gonna ask Cheryl that you, like before, like the party before you, just reach out to the Gloucester Police Department. Perhaps email Joseph Fitzgerald. He's the second in command, associate chief, associate something. Yeah, what his exact title is. Just to let him know that the event's happening.
Yeah, we always do that, and there is
Yeah.
police patrol, and they're very accessible by cell phone, so yes.
Okay. Oh,
Thank-
great. Thank you.
Okay.
Any questions for us?
No, just I appreciate your quick response, and thank you again for allowing us to have this license.
You're
It's-
welcome. Wishing you
our
lots of
major
success that day.
fundraiser.
and Good weather,
No,
right?
I hope so too.
No rain.
That's the problem.
We've had enough rain.
All right, thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you. Have a
Bye-bye.
good. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Are there any, before we adjourn, is there any discussions, anything we need to discuss before we end the meeting, adjourn the meeting?
No, Madam Chair.
Good meeting. Thank you both. It was good to see you both. And thank you, Allison, for getting all this done. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. So move.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Lammery,
Yes.
Ms. Prince,
Yes.
Mr. Costa.
Yes.
Thank you again. Enjoy August. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.